Ash, Ash, let me say this real quick, just 2 seconds. Ash, do you know that last year was the highest year in car repossession ever? You know how many people's vehicles, RVs, etc., trucks were repossessed? Men and women, women at a higher rate. So you talk about, won't you think ahead and get something that's affordable and stuff like that. You got to excuse me. Most people are making emotional choice purchases, whether they're buying a house, whether they're buying a vehicle, whether they're buying whatever the case may be. Most people are emotionally purchasing. And yes, that does make sense and I do agree with you, but life changes. We have to adjust all the time. This is why we have bankruptcy. People restructure to align their books and downsize and get rid of things in order to make their business flow.
Yeah, she
Like
not she not hearing that, Luis. But
I know
No,
she's not hearing that.
I hear
I knew
exactly
she's
what
not
you.
hearing
I
that,
hear exactly what you're
but
saying, right? I know. I hear exactly what you're saying, right? So my husband has a car dealership, so I know exactly what you're saying, right? And in a point in time, I used to work at the dealership with him, and I would actually see people live beyond their means to try to get a super fancy car, whatever the case may be, that they're not going to be able to keep the maintenance in. So this is why I had that mindset already. It's just kind of like people, like you said, make emotional purchases just from the thought of, okay, I got things right now, but they don't plan for the future. So this is what I'm saying. Like as a man, right, and you have a family and a woman or wife and children, it's better for you to kind of think realistically. Like shit can happen, right? And one of the things that we used to kind of promote to people is, yeah, this is a nice car, but you need something that you're gonna be able to afford just in case that job is going. You got to live on unemployment. So sometimes it's just kind of having that mentality. And I'm not, I'm not sure if a lot of people already think like that, but that's how I think. Like sometimes like maybe sometimes people call me overthinking, but I like to plan for the worst just in case some shit happen and I can't afford the shit that I'm used to having. So I'm like, I could afford that, but I'm not gonna do that just in case some shit happen. You get what I'm saying? So it's just
I
kind of
mean, when you
why
reach a
not
certain
already have
threshold,
that mindset? That's what I'm saying.
when you reach a certain threshold, like there were people who were making 5 figures a month, multiple 5 figures a month, to now making a single figure a month, 8,000, 9,000, or whatever. That's a huge difference if I'm making 30,000 a month versus 8 or 9,000 a month. And when you're making that kind of money, you never think that it's going to dry up or slow down. You might even make half of that, but you're still making t- the 5 figures every single month, right? And life goes through these ebbs and flows. Even if you hedge, right? You have built a certain type of lifestyle, a certain type of niche for yourself. And that sounds wonderful, but unfortunately, people don't understand what is happening in the world. Most people, I'm willing to bet, not maybe this panel might be different, but most people out here don't understand economics. Most people don't understand what's happening with tariffs, how the market is shifting, demand, supply chain demand. They don't understand how the workforce has changed, how much downsizing has happening in companies and corporations. A lot of you don't read that shit. A lot of y'all don't pay attention to that. So yes, there are a lot of brilliant women who do pay attention to the market. Shout out to y'all. But unfortunately, a lot of y'all don't think about that stuff. Life comes at you like this.
I appreciate what Ash said, though. I don't think you heard it. I don't know if Lapeef heard it. I don't know if Louise heard it. What she said, or at least how I digested it, was that we need to maintain a lifestyle at a minimal rate. If we could afford a $30,000 a month lifestyle, we need to never exceed a $10,000 lifestyle. So that way, in the event that life shifts, we don't have to regress and have this disappointment. And I think that if a man is being foolish, gambling away the rent or the mortgage, taps into drugs to do something like that, I could totally understand women being in an uproar. But that's not most people's situation. most people are living a situation where they're trying to do their absolute best. So shout out to Ash. I appreciate that. The men who are listening, just don't do too much. Just do the minimal. That's what I took from it. So I appreciate that.
But then that hold on. That kind of contradicts that. I got my notes right here. I've been paying attention. That kind of contradicts a lot of the talking point that the brothers brought up at the beginning of the show. You know what I'm saying? With women, you know, wanting a certain type of lifestyle, living a certain type of way, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think as a man, if you're making $30K every single month, month after month, year after year after year, you think she's not checking and saying like, hey, babe, we could upgrade a little bit. You know, we could get that Benz. You know what I'm saying? But no, babe, I'm gonna put you in this Kia. You think
she can say what she want, but according to Ash, in economic downfall, potentially, we need to stand firm.
These women are not thinking about no goddamn economic downfall.
Yes,
like,
we are. Yes,
no,
we are.
Not.
Especially,
maybe you are. Especially
a woman who loves you. A woman who loves you, a woman who trusts you, and a woman that you married. Right? If she's saying, hey, baby, I want this, and if you being the nigga that you are, you being masculine in your energy, and she trusts you, and you saying, nah, we're not getting that, that's it. Unless you allow your woman to kind of dictate the decisions that you make, that you make, and then your final word is not your final word, then that's the only reason you're going to have that problem. But if you're not in your masculine energy, and if she don't trust you enough to be like, okay, he said I'm going to get a Kia, it's still a car, you get what I'm saying? Then she's gonna run all over you, and she gonna use you for all your money. I'm sorry, but that's exactly how it is.
Period.
Yeah, that sounds cute, man. I'm still staying on my point.
Hold on. Another question for the ladies. Do you still want a traditional man if you're not living a traditional life?
Can we define traditional? Oh, me and Ash are like, traditional? What's traditional?
I agree. Can you elaborate?
What's a traditional life?
I do want that. I understand the question.
I feel like.
Okay, go ahead, Amir.
Women do want the traditional man without living the traditional life. The traditional life comes with things that Hink and Aisha are talking about, sacrificing and living under certain means and hard work, and it's not luxurious. The traditional life typically isn't luxurious. There are traditional lifestyles that do come with luxury, but the majority aren't. And most women do want the traditional man with the traditional values, because those men tend to take care of the women. Traditional men tend to care for women and believe that they need to follow the traditional gender roles. Women want traditional men, but they don't want to be traditional women, and they don't want to live the traditional lifestyle, but they want that man to still adhere to, oh, you know, you got to respect the woman, open my door when I come, you got to treat me good, and I don't have to pay the rent, and I don't want to have to pay half, and all the traditional things that come with men being men, but they still want to be modern themselves. That's my view.